Hello, my 1585ers. You wonderful group of individuals, you. Welcome to another broadcast from Clyde Phillips Sr. Yeah. Hey. Coming at you live. Going to show you another FSD drive. In the meantime, I'd like to discuss something with you. I'm going to use myself as an example, and I want you to relate this to everything else you know in the world. Oh, hang on a second. Let's get out there so we don't interfere with traffic. These on-ramps and off-ramps are there for a reason. Definitely to give you enough time to get up to speed so you don't interfere with oncoming traffic. Okay, so try to identify with this little scenario here and put it towards what you know of things that are going on in and around your world. So as a young boy growing up in Montreal, Quebec, in a place called Saint-Henri, which is right downtown by the Antwater Market and all kinds of other great places to be in Montreal, like the Alexis Neon Plaza, etc., etc. Well, 4 years old, my mom's philosophy was, in the morning, have your breakfast, brush your teeth, wash your face, do all those things, and get the hang out of my way so I can clean this house and get everything in order. And that was a natural, normal way of doing things. And at 4 years old, I knew the lay of the land there. I knew how to get around. I knew how to get to certain homes and get back to my house. And as a consequence of that, I was picked on every single day. Me and my buddy from the same block used to get together every morning, same thing. We both got kicked out so our parents could do what they had to do. And we'd get chased and beaten and hit with sticks and rocks thrown at us. So we were on the receiving end of bullies who were much older than us, much more capable. But I'll tell you, what it did was it made us extremely resilient, extremely fast, and we started to use our head. So what we would do is, we knew the routes that these guys moved on, and we would go around and we would collect like pockets and pockets full of rocks, and we'd like fill our shirt, like pull up our shirt and fill that little cavity with rocks. And we would go to the docks, and the docks were loading docks for trucks, and they used to load food stuff and all kinds of stuff into this factory. And there weren't trucks there all the time. The trucks would come and they'd load up everything. I don't know if it was a drive-in warehouse or what it was, but so we would be there filling up the dock ledge with rocks. So they weren't just sitting down in the open, they were up kind of in a nice vantage point. And then when we seen these same bullies come by, we would just start pelting them with rocks. We got so good with our aim and our ability to catch these guys that the running away from them was a lot less than normal. So that's how I began life in downtown Montreal, dealing with bullies on a huge level. Then we moved to Saint-Laurent, which was in the north, I guess you would call it the suburb of Montreal. And it didn't stop there. Chased and beaten and bullied. So my father said, enough's enough. He started teaching me boxing. I started to go to community centers and box there. And then my brother, who has since passed, unfortunately, he was an amazing individual in so many ways. Anyway, he started to teach me what people would call savat. And he taught me how to use my legs in a way that was good for defense, good for offense. And I worked it. I mean, I practiced that daily, boxed daily. I boxed with everybody in the neighborhood, right, who wanted to take part. And I honed my skills to the point where I never, ever had to worry about a bully again. So, what would you call that? Building up my ammunition, getting my base so that I had a good, solid foundation to fight back on, right? Even though all these people were against me, even though everywhere I went, I ran into controversy and problems. And again, remember, I'm like 4, 5, 6 years old. I did not understand what was going on. I didn't understand why. I had no clue. The names I was being called, I didn't understand them until way later. I mean, in kindergarten, I just started learning a couple of French words. And of course, I should have mentioned that in the beginning. Saint-Laurent was very, very French, very, very white. Okay? I think there were only like 3 families in the whole area, or 4 that were black. So I didn't know that though, okay? So I'm not standing on that. I had no clue what that was all about or whether it would come into play in any way, shape, or form. Anyways, learning the boxing, learning the savat, honing my skills, building up that base, piling up my ammunition, making sure I had hordes of reserves, okay? Because the next bully that came my way, I wanted to make sure that I blasted them with a good bunch of retaliation. And I did. When bullies understood who I was and no longer wanted to mess with me, I started to concentrate on the other people that were being bullied and making sure that I could protect them from the onslaught that I had to suffer. That went quite well. It went actually extremely well. It went so well that these bullies would run to the police against me. Now, you don't expect that. If there's a bully in your midst and you give that bully a beating, you think he would suck it up, right? And go on with his solid self and just maybe learn a little bit of a lesson. You need to choose who you're bullying, because not everybody is amenable to being bullied. So the police used to come visit me. And I mean, this is not a quote, of course, because this is many, many years ago. But it was something like, "You Clyde Phillips?" "Yes." "Did you beat up so-and-so and so-and-so?" "Yes." "Yes? Oh, okay. Well, what's going on? Why? What's your story?" "Well, listen, when I see people being bullied, I step up." "Okay, well now remember, this is not quote for quote, because it was a lot longer conversation than this. It was like, "Well, you know, you're not supposed to take the law in your own hands." And I'd say, "Well, I'm not the law, but the one thing I do know is this. If you get there before me, I'll let you handle it. If I get there first, don't expect me to get on the phone and call police to come and deal with it. By the time you get there, this person could be dead." So I continued to take the law into my own hands. And I continued being accosted by the police, taken to the station, Some of the police officers didn't know who I was, so it was just, yeah, I'm guilty. Take me to the police station. And the other police officers would arrive and they would come and sit down with me and say, what's going on again? And I would tell them, and they'd say, you can't keep doing this. And I said, well, again, I wouldn't do it if you guys were there. If you guys could take care of it and stop these people from being hurt. And I'm telling you, there was a variety of abuse that was going on. Some inter-family abuse, and I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to be banned again. I've been banned from these platforms over and over again. Spousal abuse, boyfriend abusing girlfriends, guys not liking certain girls, spitting on them and spitting in their hair. I mean, you name it, I stepped up to it. Kids coming to my house, waking me up, because I mean, like, I was a terror to wake up. My mom wouldn't even do it. So she'd say, well, you go in there and wake them up. And it would be, you know, oh, this person did this, and they closed off the park, and they kicked us all out. They put barricades at the entrances, and they said they're looking for you. And I would get up, and my signature was barefoot, bare-chested. I didn't like to wear shirts, and I didn't like to wear shoes. And I was a kid, so don't say I was trying to be any of this or that. I was just, that's the way I like to roll. I felt more free that way. And I could run better when I was barefoot. I felt the ground, I could grip it. I used to run across the alleyways that had broken bottles and rocks and all kinds of things on it. And yeah, I did quite fine. Anyways, so I dealt with all of these bullies from all over my area and other areas that I like to frequent, because I used to go visit all the other areas regularly. And as I got older, I learned that I had to fight my way into the other areas, and I had to fight my way out, because each of them had their own group of bullies that kind of ran the roost. So I guess you could say I got well known across the entire area of Montreal and its suburbs. Dollar des Ormeaux and Pierrefonds and Ama Bay were my favorite places to go and visit and spend time with people, and we'll stay light on those details. Anyway, so I hope what you get from my story, and this is only the beginning of that story, is that be careful who you bully, because eventually they will build up their ammunition stockpiles. They will train and get prepared for your next visit. And when your next visit occurs, you might find yourself on the losing end. Don't bully people. And if you support bullying, you are a bully. There's no two ways about it. You cannot actually get away from that. I hope you guys can see these matrix headlights, how they turn off pixels so that they don't get in other people's eyes. My high beams have been on almost the whole time. So equate that to things that are going on in your world right now. And tell me, do you support the bullies? And yes, you can come back at me and say, yeah, well, you were a bully too. And I'll say, yes, I was. And I actually apologized for that. When Facebook still was not very popular and people were just starting to get onto it, I went on Facebook and I said publicly, and I'm sure that can still be found somewhere on the Facebook archives, I said, I apologize to all the bullies that I bullied, because I became the super bully, which I guess did not make me much better than the bullies that I was protecting other people from. And I said it more or less to confess and get it off my chest, because it was bothering me. And a lot of the world bullies I see now, I don't hear them apologizing for anything they've done. Nothing. They don't care. They just gloss over it and they bully again. and again, and again, and again. Well, let me tell you what happened when I apologized publicly. All of a sudden, I started receiving private messages from people from my past who were basically saying, you apologizing is nonsense. Do you know how your actions helped me? Do you know what you saved me from? Do you know what you saved me and my girlfriends from? Do you know what you saved us from? And I was getting overwhelmed with wonderful messages of people telling me their story and how it worked out so much better for them. I don't know about you folks, but being humble and apologizing really goes a long, long way. Are you backing bullies? Are you making excuses for bullies? Are you saying, nah, it's all right, we didn't like that guy anyway, so just go beat him up? Yeah, we don't care. Oh, smash him. Yeah. Oh, you kicked him in the head. Oh, that was really cool. And that poor kid ends up in a coma. Or ends up with brain damage that you don't even care to even go check on. Well, I gotta say, I feel good about the fact that I actually cared. I actually did care about what had transpired to those bullies, because I was a pretty capable young man. And I guess I wasn't mature enough to understand that I could have handled them somewhat differently. Actually, you know what? I did try. I'll give myself that. I always went and I talked to these people and I said, I don't like what you're doing, and I think you need to stop. In other words, I don't know how many words I used or what language I was using, or I knew I was very good at French by this time, so I was probably using French in most of the cases, and sometimes it was English. But all I can tell you is this: I did my best to try to approach them, and then you know what happens. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Who do you think you are? And then all of a sudden it's pa-ting, pa-doing, pa-dong. You know, those are mild sounds that were coming out of those confrontations. Anyway, folks, please apply this story to everything that you know. Anything you've seen, anything that you think you're okay with, and then think again. Think back to my story and go, wait a second. Were these people humble? Were they really out there protecting people, or were they making excuses so that they could be bullies? Were they picking on people that were way weaker than them and using excessive force? Or were they trying their best to mediate situations and maybe got into a confrontation because things got out of hand? Look at these things objectively. Make your decisions. Please, don't be a bully. Don't support bullying in any manner. Do your best to mitigate and mediate and bring things to a proper close. So, folks, do me a favor. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And above all, stay as happy as humanly possible. And do you realize we just did a perfect drive? Uh-oh. Why every time I say that does it fail? Why every time I say that it fails? It missed the merge lane there. Like, you're kidding me. Okay, great, you can correct yourself. But why not make the mistake in the first place? Anyway, that's, again, first world problems. It did awesome all the way, perfect drive, up until that one stupid mistake. Folks, remember, us 1585ers, we never give up, we never give in, but we have such open minds that we're able to gather knowledge from all corners. And with that knowledge, it becomes our power, and the only power we'll ever possess on this earth. So folks, don't give up your power. Keep your open mind. Do your research. Figure out what's going on. And I hope you get the meaning of my story. I'm use myself because I've lived so many experiences that are good lesson builders. So I hope you get the lesson. All right? Take care, folks. I love you all, and I do wish the best for all of us. Even the bullies. A lot of bullies that I encountered became really good guys after that. And I mean it. I'm not joking. A lot of the guys that I had to take care of, we became actually pretty close friends later. I think out of mutual respect that came from either good confrontations or realizing that people really believe sometimes in their flawed views. All right? Anyway, I'll drop it there. Chat at you later. You got a little piece of my life now. Those beautiful rabbits, by the way, showed up on the screen. So if you want to go back and take a look at that. I don't even know if I want to say this yet until I stop. But so far, FSD has a perfect record. No running over raccoons, no running over rabbits, no running over cats. Yeah, it's been really, really great that way. I have a lot of confidence in it.